I think we're ready for episode 2. Oh, I need my notes.
Notes, huh?
Not ready. Yeah, I'm going to take notes on the things that you say.
Oh gosh, you were doing that yesterday. Scary.
I was trying to write. We were playing video games, and I was trying to write down how I visualized the title for the episodes. Smoosh Attack. And as I was writing, you thought that I was
taking notes of what I was saying.
Taking notes about what you would say. So that's
because I would say something and you were like, interesting. And then you're like writing it just happened to be about that and not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had every reason to believe.
All right. So what I'm going to do is take notes on what we think this episode should be about.
Okay.
Okay, so...
Oh, like a brainstorming sesh?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have...
That's the tricky part is I put it on you and I was like, please never tell me what the episode is about because I'll overthink it way too much and then it won't be like genuine.
Mm-hmm.
So... But I guess if we're brainstorming right now and then we do it, then...
That's what's funny about it.
Yeah.
I already have topics in my head that we could talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Right now.
Brainstorming would be... I see your first note says teacher.
You were a teacher once, weren't you?
I was.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I've processed enough of that trauma yet to talk about it.
So well, you don't have to talk about the trauma of being a teacher, all the bad parts. What kept you being a teacher?
Okay, next. We're brainstorming, right?
Okay, so I'll scratch that one out.
Well, keep it, but it's something else.
Keep it for what?
It's an idea, but we're brainstorming. So.
Okay. So you don't want to talk about teaching, is what I'm saying.
I don't know. I just happened to see your notes. Let's just keep going.
Well, you're overanalyzing.
I know.
Because you looked at my notes as I was writing. I have one word written down, and it's just teacher.
Okay.
Okay, pause. Time out.
Don't listen.
Go to the bathroom. You have a thing in your teeth. Don't hit that. Just calmly go to the bathroom. Everything's fine.
What if I just pick it?
You do whatever you need to get it out. Because this is unairable.
My!
Yeah.
I'm going to need some floss. So. I'll just excuse myself.
Let me see. Yeah, get.
What the hell is he doing?
O'Malley? I don't know. Oh, she said good catch. Still trying to decide what episode 2 should be about. First episode was just kind of a ramble. I'd like to apologize for anything I said. I did disclose in the beginning that I don't know anything about the world. I don't. I only know what's happening inside of my brain at the time. Okay, Heather's coming back. Well, we got dead air. You just want me to keep it on dead air this whole time?
I thought you said pause, that you're going to pause it.
Well, I'm not going to stand up. I'm not going to stand. Oh my God, you brought it up here.
Well, just in case I need it later.
In case something flies into your mouth.
Yeah.
While we're...
Yeah.
You brought floss up here. Do I have anything?
No. Not that I can see.
All right. So teaching's out for this go around.
I just don't know if it's... An appropriate topic for like our second podcast.
What is an appropriate topic?
I don't know. I guess it would
Kittens
be.
and puppies? Huh?
It's not a bad idea. Write that one down.
And puppies. And then we have the old tired concept of suffering from success. I'm tired of talking about that now.
Oh, why?
Well, because I already talked about it like 3 times. I'll come up with something else to talk about.
Yeah, a new Ethanism.
What is that? Ethan is. Is that a term that you use?
Yeah.
Well, don't.
Okay.
So there is that, and then dinkwads. That has something to do with puppies and kittens.
Oh, yeah.
What does that stand for?
Double income, no kids with a dog.
Yeah, so I don't know what generation this term belongs to. Millennials, perhaps. Dinkwads. And yeah, dual income, no kids.
I don't think it's discriminatory. It can belong to whoever's an adult with double income, no kids, and a dog.
Why don't we have kids?
Is that the topic?
Well, I guess, why are we dinkwads?
I just don't feel like it.
Yeah, the same.
Lots of reasons, but yeah, that's probably number one. Not interested at the moment.
Okay, so what's your favorite, kitten or puppy?
Ooh,
Like babies.
probably pigs, like little baby piglets.
That wasn't an option. I said kittens. Kittens or puppies is what I said.
But then you said baby, like animals. You open up the floor.
Oh, sorry. To specify, like, they're babies, like, when the puppies are doing that little cry thing. What is... When they do that little bark type thing when they're puppies? What noise is that?
Like a cry?
Yeah, like their little cries. That's cute, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're little like... They make like piglet noises.
Yeah.
So probably puppies because they're more like piglets than kittens.
But they don't... But you wouldn't want a pig. You would want
Who's
a
to
baby
say?
pig? Well, we do like the movie... We do like the movie
Babe.
Babe. And Babe 2.
Babe Pig in the City.
Pig in the City.
Probably my top 2 favorite movies.
Of all time.
Yeah.
Directed by George Miller. Also, who directed Mad Max Fury Road. One of my favorite movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more partial to the first Babe.
I
than
mean,
the
it's
second one.
it's a classic story. I think that I like Babe Pig in the City because obviously, like, I first watched those movies when I was little, and it just had more animals. So I just liked the variety.
They did have the hotel full of
Yeah.
animals. And the chimpanzees,
Yeah.
I'm still not sure
Yeah.
about the use of monkeys because I don't know if they were good guys or bad guys. I guess they had their own motive.
Yeah. Oh, like how they're portrayed in the movie. Yeah.
Well,
It's-
were they good or bad?
It's complicated. I think they were like,
He saved the goldfish.
they thought that they were like better than everyone else. And then they realized that like they're all animals.
Whoa, there's like were they saying that there's like classes in the animal
Ooh.
society?
Is this going to be write that topic down.
Classes.
Babe Big in the City classes movie.
Classism,
Maybe.
socioeconomic statuses. And that one dog that was going to eat him, the
Yeah.
bridge part, he saved him.
Yeah.
And then he was all of a sudden like
Yeah.
Because he probably was never shown love
Love.
before.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, he
Babe-
was tied up, chained up. And
We'll
then he was shown kindness.
do a Babe and Babe Pig in the City movie review.
Yes.
We'll do one episode each.
Huge. I feel like I could fill that time up, yeah.
We'll just watch them and then Babe too.
Commentate.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good topic.
Yeah.
Well, kittens or puppies? You said probably puppies.
Yeah. Kittens are really like entertaining though. I think that puppies are cuter. Kittens are like more interesting.
It's like you can understand dogs, but cats you'll never really get fully.
Mm-mm.
Like they're like roommates.
Yeah.
But dogs are like, yeah, your BFFs.
Companions, yeah.
Best friends and roommates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, classism and Babe and Babe 2. It's really just Babe. Well, it's also Babe 1. They say
They're going to take the farm.
things are the way they are, like accept your role as a pig. That's the whole movie. And then he overcomes...
Because he tries to be a sheepdog, yeah.
And he becomes a sheepdog. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably not outgrowing, but like it's.
I know George Miller didn't just make a movie about pigs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then Mad Max Fury Road is also about classism.
That's just driving from point A to point B, back to point A. That whole movie.
Yeah, but
Nothing happens. If you say nothing happens in the story in Mad Max, like you know how much?
Doesn't matter.
Do you know how much happens in Mad Max Fury Road?
Yeah.
There's a gratuitous shot of a guy with a guitar that shoots flames out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Movie review: Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay.
Well, we'll call it the George Miller trilogy.
Yes.
Because Babe 2.
Trilogy.
Well, and then
Yeah, that's
and then
funny.
Mad Max is in the far future.
Okay.
There's no more animals.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Next we have favorite moment in a national park.
Oh, okay.
Or no. This will get harder. Favorite moment on a official go there do that adventure. So just anywhere we've been. Because every trip we go on is an official. Well, you go on those van trips with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really bring a camera with you or document anything. So
What? Oh, like...
the girls' trips
Yeah.
in the van,
Yeah.
those don't count.
Okay.
So favorite.
I'm going to pick one moment from one of those trips on purpose.
Oh, from a girls' trip?
Yeah. Doesn't count.
Wait, okay, so there are times when Heather goes on these girls' trips in the van with her friends, and one of your favorite moments is within one of those trips. Was it when y'all were asked if y'all were there for the softball tournament?
No.
Oh. Okay, so top 5 favorite moments.
Okay.
Can you name them?
On a go there do that adventure?
Just any moment in your life.
Oh my gosh.
From 2020 to now.
Oh.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you name them?
Oh, right now?
Do you have them in your head?
So I'm confused. So we're brainstorming and then we're talking about each topic, or is this like a brainstorming session for like future topics?
There's literally 0 rules to any of this. Like,
Okay.
so you can talk. We're going to ask you, can you...
Question.
Oh, we're saving that for later, right? We're saving teaching for later. We got actually finished kittens or puppies. Mm-hmm. So that one's actually done now.
I thought we were going to like talk about kittens and puppies.
We can if you want to. Do you want to talk about kittens and puppies?
Not right now, no.
Okay, so
I'll probably cry.
Moving on.
Okay.
Classes and Babe 2.
Okay.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay.
Smoosh. Yeah, Smoosh will
Smoosh could be multiple topic.
We're writing Smoosh down. He's back there. He's probably about to unplug the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You see him, right? You can see him a little bit. Okay.
Oh my. Okay, so if
All
we
right.
ignore him, maybe he'll stop.
He won't.
He likes the attention.
Okay, so we're getting off track here.
Okay.
We really need to focus on, so top 5 favorite moments later.
Okay.
This is really just me thinking of things as I can think of them, and you're like, can we talk about that later? And I say yes. Like, I'm just literally thinking.
The whole podcast is just... Okay.
Like, I'm just trying to think of things. And
I
then
could probably do, I guess, top 5 moments. Well, I need a second.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about until then?
I can't talk about something else while I'm trying to think about that.
So we're going to take 30 minutes. We're going to take a break, and then we'll come back
I
once
just need
Heather's
a
done.
moment. My brain just went blank. Like, it's literally like, I'm like trying to be like, think about these moments, and it's like, no.
So my top 5 moments
Okay.
are, okay, so right now, as I can say them, how long is a moment? I'm not really sure. It could be described as, how long, what? What?
So your strategy, I'm like, give me a moment because I want to like really think out my answer. And then you just start talking, like you just start saying words and travel to like your thoughts.
Okay, I got it.
It's funny.
It's Zion,
Okay.
Yosemite, Kenai, Denali, Gruyere,
That's just naming
Switzerland.
places, though,
But I have
not
moments for each one of those.
Okay.
How long is a moment?
Okay.
Okay. Because it could be the entirety of Zion, or it could just be Angel's Landing.
I would say a moment can't be like a whole trip.
Yes.
It could be.
So the moment we made it to the top of Angel's Landing, and the
Is
moment...
this in order? Or just your top 5?
I'm trying to define a moment
Got-
with you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because then it's the moment when you were up on top, and that's when you realize that you are more powerful than you previously had thought. Because you see, you didn't really see the top. You kept thinking the top was like a lot closer than it actually was. And you're like, it's just right here, right? And I was like, yeah,
you
it's
kept
just...
lying.
And then we got to the top eventually. But it was really, it was cool.
Yeah.
Because there is a point at Angel's Landing, Zion National Park. The Narrows is where you see like the chains. You have to grab onto the chains to go up to a certain point, and you could literally fall off super easy.
Yeah, it's very intimidating.
And so there's like a halfway point. You do a little bit of the chains, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that wasn't so bad. And then you just see this giant like spire
Straight up.
go up. And I actually have that on video of Heather looking back at me, staring at that spire.
Yeah.
And she was
I felt like I had been duped.
Yeah. And she was duped.
But I'm also like very stubborn. So I had made it to that point. So I was like really terrified, but I also was not going to turn around because I can't get to that point and then not do it.
She can't. And so she was duped. Because
Yeah.
I actually had done Angel's Landing in 2016. And, the Narrows is a competitor. That's why I just said Zion, because
Yeah.
those are in the same boat for me. Because at the Narrows, in 2016, I got there. I was there with friends. But I had heard the Narrows was really cool, really great. But I turned around at the front when you first start going to the Narrows. And I said, I'm going to wait for Heather. We were dating then.
Mm-hmm.
And so, thankfully, I didn't feel stupid because we did come back 4 years later
Yeah.
to the Narrows. And we didn't go super far. Like, we didn't go all the way because it's
yeah.
like
16 miles.
you can literally
Crazy.
camp inside of the Narrows with like water. There's actually some people who passed away in the Narrows because it was like
You always
flooded.
go dark. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
when
I
you
know.
start going on Angel's Landing, it says this many people have died since this
Yeah, that's
day.
true, yeah.
Like, you're out there
Yeah, things can happen.
It's
Yeah.
not Disneyland. You can't sue Mother Nature like if you break your ankle.
Yeah.
You know, like you're going up this mountain and then you get hurt, or you can definitely get hurt, and you have to be careful.
Yeah.
So the Narrows, that's what the Narrows is. You have to be careful. It's very cold water.
Yeah. We had to wear like special gear.
And so I don't know, waiting for you for 4 years was kind of cool,
Special moment for you. Yeah.
but I didn't like expect it to happen late. I was like, well, if it happens, it happens, but it would be cool if it did. And then that was also...
Well, because at that point, it's not like we had even done, like, the biggest trip we'd taken together was, like, going to Schlitterbahn together. So it's not...
True.
It was normal to be like, I would like to come back with Heather, but also maybe not. Not even, like, thinking, like, that we would break up, but just because, like, we didn't even know if that was, like, something we liked to do as a couple yet. Or could do.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, before you go camping with somebody or even adventuring, like there's many qualities, infinite number of things in a person that you would look for to be what's the opposite
Compatible?
of a red flag?
Green flag.
Green flag. See some green flags in somebody where they're like, yep, they're cool this way, this way, this way. But how compatible are you when you adventure? Like when you try something new? That's actually something I never know. I'm thinking about it now, but yeah, what's your adventuring? How good are you with trying new things? That is kind of a thing that people ask for, right? Likes to try new things. That's what they mostly say.
Or like spontaneous is usually the way to, which I would not describe myself as spontaneous though.
Yeah, but
I would say maybe like open-minded.
going outside of your comfort zone, like, do you possess that quality to be able to grow? Because that's the only time you can actually grow, right? Is
Yeah.
outside of your
Pushing yourself.
comfort zone, right? If you
Yeah.
don't try new things, you'll never learn something new.
True.
So that's top one. It's a tie out of my
Okay.
top 5.
Okay.
And Alaska Part 2, which
Yeah.
Denali, when we stayed there. So that is just really cool in itself. But I feel like one of the, it's full of magic, right? Like Denali was clear and I got some really cool time lapses, which apparently we heard is rare.
Yeah.
And we flew around Denali too. So it's like the park is named after this mountain and we flew around it.
Yeah.
And it was really weird because it's like besides climbing a mountain, I think, that's like as intimate as you can get with a mountain, if that's the right word. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, first time I was watching the time lapse I did with Denali, and it was just that. So if you go to our video, Denali Part 2, it's Heather says, I feel like I don't need to say it. It speaks for itself. And then it shows Denali just, and then the music kicks in. It's really cool. And then there's like a time lapse where the music, what was that, crescendos, the end of it. And I thought it's like a thought just pops into your head as you're doing something. And the thought I had was, I could see how like Native Americans
Worshipped, yeah.
in, like all these Native Americans like worshipped like nature.
Yeah.
Because it's literally, you can see like a storm, rain come from the mountain because it has its own weather system and it shoots out into the valley and you just look at it and you're like, thanks, because it's literally caused by the mountain, like weather patterns. And we were lucky enough to get a clear day while we were there.
Yeah, like it's just so like it's powerful. Like it is not just a piece of rock.
But if I need some rain and then this thing just swirls up a cloud and throws it at me, I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just like if an apple tree gave me an apple, like same thing. But not saying I do worship nature or anything, but I thought, especially because it was a time lapse that like sped up so I could see the clouds,
right?
Swirling and stuff. So that was cool. But that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So there's Denali and just Alaska in general. We've been there 3 times, and each time is its own crazy thing. and we don't really go to the same place, you know. And Kenai Fjords was the other one because of the story behind it. Because Heather, the way she books things, is little.
Gotta be flexible.
It's very flexible. You have to be very flexible. And we only had one night at the Kenai Fjords Glacier Lodge. Heather managed to find that, so we had less than 24 hours for sure. But it was a 3-hour boat ride to get there from Seward. And then we get there, and we get this orientation talking about how dangerous it is and how we're so restricted with staying there. And there's bears everywhere.
Yeah, it wasn't like specifically why it was dangerous is because it's very isolated. So bears are very active because there's not a whole lot of people there, like scaring them away. And then it is so isolated. So like we weren't allowed to go off hiking by ourselves because if you do, slip and break your ankle, it's so hard like to get medical care. It'd be a 3-hour boat ride back. So it wasn't that it was dangerous. You just don't have access to things in case danger does happen, I guess.
It's in Alaska. It's
like,
far
don't be
away.
afraid to visit Kenai Fjords.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to get to, though. There's so many places, like, it's just hard to get to in Alaska. Like, we won't bring... Everywhere, it's just harder work. There's less facilities, utilities, Yeah. That's why when you think of Alaska, it's like the survival...
Last frontier.
Yeah. And there's literally people out there just still making their own cabins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kenai, though, cool. Because we only had a short time there, but we made the most of it. And the sun stays up forever in the summertime. And it was there... we were there in July, and the day we were there, it was like their sixth and seventh day with no rain, because in Kenai Fjords it rains all the time. But we were there the 2 days it didn't rain, and so one afternoon and one morning,
Right.
And then the morning we were leaving, we went on a guided kayak tour to Ayalik Glacier, and that was really cool because we barely managed to do that. Heather knows this story more than me, though, because I wasn't signing us up. What happened?
Oh, yeah, like that was like the one thing that I wanted to do there. Like I knew that we were there for like 24 hours, and so they included in like the price to stay there is like excursions. And the one thing I wanted to do, because I knew we were only going to have time for one excursion, was to kayak in like that bay area, because it's just beautiful. I mean, it's a glacier. Like you're kayaking and there's like these rock formations in Kenai Fjords that are just like incredible, beautiful. They look like nature-made sculptures. And then there's a freaking glacier. Like it's just incredibly beautiful. And then you're like going through the water and little chips of the glacier are like floating in the water. It's just like completely magical experience. That was the one thing I wanted to do. But no one else was signed up for the excursion, and like for them to do the excursions, like they only have so many guides. So you have to have like multiple people wanting to do the same excursion as you. And so I asked for that and they were like, "We'll try, but like probably not, like no one signed up for that right now." And then they came back later and they were like, we got 2 other couples to sign up for the kayaking excursion. And so that was really exciting because we got to do like the one thing that I had like hoped for. And it was cool that they like kind of went the extra mile to make it happen. But then also I felt bad because, yeah.
So we had the puppy dog eyes. We were like, hey, can we just please and they're like, we're like, well then can we get another night here? And they're like, no.
Which would have meant that we we were literally going to miss our flight but I was like, whatever, like I'll rebook. I was gonna teach summer school the day after we got back, but I was like, whatever, like we'll figure it out. I just want to stay another night here because this place is Narnia. Like it was so crazy. Yeah. Sorry.
But no, don't apologize. I was just making sure you're done talking.
Yeah.
It's good to have pauses. Yeah, all good things must come to an end. And we made the most of it. We saw a glacier calving, and this is actually the end of the Alaska trilogy. Because we're on the kayaks and everything, we hear the glacier calving, and then our guide is like explaining it, and he's like, it's actually like miles away, and it looks really small, but it's actually super far, and we can't. He said we couldn't be.
It didn't look small. Like it looked like it was close, but it's miles away. Yeah.
And we had to stay a certain number of miles away or something.
Or like yards or something.
A mile? I don't know.
Yeah.
He says it in the video, but because it's a danger zone, we just flip over because the waves caused by just glaciers falling will flip your kayak, which is crazy. And then, as all that's happening, a bald eagle flies over us, and then Heather's like, "You better have been recording or taking a photo," and I'm like literally recording it as it's flying. But yeah, it's a bald eagle that flies over us, and then the guide is like, "So much Alaska happening right here."
Yeah, it's crazy.
Then it ends. Yeah. So that's a moment that's really cool. Yeah, that's a moment that's really cool, and then.
But I felt bad because, like, we got to go down that excursion, and they like basically finagled these like two older couples into going with us.
Okay.
And one of them was like significantly like pretty older. Like they didn't go on the kayak ride because they like started to get in, and it just like wasn't feasible, and so they like left and went back to the lodge. And so I felt bad about that because like kayaking is
It's hard on your
back.
You gotta crunch over,
and you gotta like crawl into it. Like it's a whole thing.
I mean, we didn't ask him, but
yeah,
we
I
needed
know
more people.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's the part you kind of wanted me to talk about, right? Okay, so yeah, the
ones that went with us, yeah.
Yeah, the other couple, as we were coming back, and I wasn't recording because I had brought the camera, but it's not like waterproof, so there were like touring boats that started because it was later in the day when we were coming back. So all these boats started showing up, making these giant ripples in the water, awake after them, and so we started to hit those, and water started coming into our boat, and I was like holding the camera, and so I wasn't like recording because I was leaving it off just in case. That's what you're supposed to do. But as we were coming back, a whale just jumps up out of the water, and we're like watching it, and then it's like going away, but we were standing there with the other couple, and the guide stayed behind with the kayaks and stuff. But then so I always tell this story, like he comes up to me and grabs me by the collar of my shirt.
Emotionally,
he grabbed me by the collar of my shirt, and he said something along these lines. He said, "Now, whatever you do, do not wait to make more things happen like this. Like, don't wait like I did. I barely fit into the boat. This other guy, he didn't fit into the boat. Like, that was something that we all saw, and it, like, we were all watching it because he was too elderly." And he said, "Save up every penny, nickel, dime, whatever you have to do. Pull it from your couches. Who cares? Keep doing these things and do not wait like I have. Don't make the same mistake as me." But it was like, when somebody we didn't really know these people, and when somebody kind of gives you life advice, it's kind of like called for. But we didn't know these people, but they were like telling us something, and it's like he couldn't help but say these things. Like he was like, "Oh my, like you too, please." It was kind of, so
it was an important moment. Yeah. Because I feel like it was like, we don't know what we're doing. No one does, but like I don't know. Like, we don't know if what we're doing is like what we're supposed to. It's probably not what we're supposed to be doing. But it's like, I don't know if anyone that is like older is gonna look back and be like, I shouldn't have done all those things.
I
Those incredible moments, yeah.
probably won't regret the things I'm talking about right
Right.
now. And that's what I try to fill most of my life up with is those things. So,
Basically, you validated us, so it was a good moment.
because the fact was we were already there
Yeah.
doing it already, and we wouldn't have heard that had we not been there in the first place. But I guess if there's any, after you see a glacier calving and a whale in Alaska,
Yeah.
and it's like, hey,
You're
just
kind of just like in a daze.
in case you weren't sure about
Yeah.
go ahead, keep doing it. Like, it was validating. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey guys, just do whatever it takes. And so that's number 2.
Yeah. And then an hour later, we took the boat back to Seward because we were done. Yeah. So I think you're on your 4th moment.
Oh,
Because you counted your Zion moments as
2?
2 or 1, I thought. You said they were 1.
It was like a tie.
Okay. And then you did Denali, like the mountain.
That's
and
also
then
a tie
Kenai.
with Kenai. It's all the same trip. A moment is an
I'm not
entire
saying you
trip.
have to rank them, but you said top 5.
Yeah, I guess I can't think of any more right now.
Okay.
Anyways.
I'll go.
Well, I have fifth one.
That's
I
3.
have the 5th
we could
one.
do top. Oh,
Well, we could say
that's the 4th.
Zion had 2, Denali had 2,
Okay. What was this second one in Denali?
Kenai, Denali. Oh, sorry.
Those
Sorry.
are 2 different places.
Alaska had 2 that trip.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
We got Denali on my brain.
Yeah.
So the last one would be Switzerland. And for you, it's probably something different. But I've never felt what I felt in this moment coming up. And so, in Guerreri, how do you say it?
I don't know. Guerreri's.
The cheese, Guerreri's cheese.
Yeah.
That's where they make the cheese or whatever. Like, that's where we were in Switzerland. And we just had fondue. And I said you could dip your shoe in it and eat it, and it would be great. Because it's just, they give you little bread crumbs to dip in. And that was cool. But then afterwards, it was, we had to take the train back, and there was like a storm kind of floating in. And then we were walking away from the town, and then Heather says, hey, I think we should go back because, you are the one that keeps us from walking off the cliff sometimes. But I'm also the one that says, well, what if we just see what's around this corner here? And then we go around the corner, and it's just, this isn't the moment, but this is something happened with Heather. I'll describe it, and then you say what you felt. So it was the rolling green hills with little farms scattered throughout, and then the Swiss Alps. And then there's you could literally see like a storm cloud, but not quite coming, it's not raining yet, but you can see the storm coming in. And then it's just all super calm and peaceful. There was like deer in a field next to us, and we had just seen a little kitty cat run up into a barn, and it's just like the most peaceful thing ever. And then, oh, there's Heather feeling what way?
Yeah, it was just like overwhelming because it was just like so beautiful, and it was like hard to believe that we were like there, and there was just like such a calming like peacefulness about that, and that place like exists. And I don't know, I was just overwhelmed by everything that I was seeing and experiencing and how beautiful it all was. So yeah, I started crying because that's what I do when I'm overwhelmed with emotions.
And then she gets mad and embarrassed. And then we go up on top of a hill, and for some reason this is because Heather was already, choking up, and so I was like, whatever. And then on top of this hill, there's a cemetery, there's a church, and then there's the storm cloud even darker, but also over here it's all the Swiss Alps. And so we were up even higher. And then it's how I would describe what the best way I can put it is the opposite of a panic attack is what I felt as you were looking at these mountains, and I started like breathing in quicker, and I was like, oh, what? Like I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, probably the cemetery, something about the beauty of life and also death is just as beautiful because you're able to experience life in order to die.
Mm-hmm.
So blah, 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 whatever.
Just something like that, you know?
But then I started breathing in and out super heavy, and I just started crying, and I was just like, oh, they got me.
Yeah, got you too.
Whatever that is. There is a untranslatable to English word it's Japanese. It's called yugen. So it has no like English translation, right? But it's a description of things in English, which is like when you see a flock of geese going out behind the trees, and then you see a mountain in front of you, but you don't wonder about what's on the other side of the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a moment where you're feeling there's no questions about what you're experiencing. And that's the word yugen. Because I wasn't really questioning anything that was going on. I was just like overwhelmed by everything.
Right.
And nothing was happening though.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
So it was just like you're so at peace, it's overwhelming. Like the calmness of the moment is what overwhelms you because you are so peaceful. Mm-hmm. Just like when things in your life are too hectic, you can like freak out.
Right.
And
feel overwhelmed, yeah.
Have a panic attack, right? And that's why I say the opposite of a panic attack, because it's just like, what is happening right now? Like, this is too peaceful. It can't be too peaceful, but somehow it was.
Yeah.
And everything just wasn't anything coming together.
Yeah.
But everything came together to make me freaking get allergies.
Right.
Just kidding. Yeah, I cried. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. Heather cried too. Heather cried when I was describing.
Yeah, but I do that, so.
So that's top 5 right now that I could think of. Oh, well, see, there's the Northern Lights in Alaska.
Yeah.
And then Yosemite, we just went.
You said top 5.
I know.
You're getting greedy.
That wasn't anything in the National Parks Extravaganza. That has its own category, I guess. In Big Bend, we're sleeping on Big Bend because we went there in 2020 and I still haven't edited anything from it. But that's really cool too. Anyways, are you ready now to speak about your top 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to rank mine either because I can't, but yeah, I would say Angel's Landing is definitely one for me because, that was like the first moment kind of where I just realized that maybe I'm not as big of like a scaredy cat as I like thought I was and other people thought I was. Like it was just a moment where I was like, I'm a little bit more stubborn than scared, you know? So accomplishing that was a pretty big deal for me. Not only like physically, but mentally. Because I didn't want, like everything in my body was like, no, absolutely not. And it's such a good thing that I did not see it beforehand. Like I hadn't seen pictures of it. I didn't know what it looked like. I hadn't seen the chain. I knew there was chains because you told me, but I didn't really know what that meant. Because that might have made me be too scared. But knowing that I can be put in that situation and not run from it and kind of like face it head on and have a good time and like not even complain the whole time. I did complain on like Walter's Wiggles and stuff like that because it was just like hell, but on the actual chain parts, like I wasn't complaining because I don't know. It was almost even fun.
Walter's Wiggles.
I think that's what it's called.
It is. It's funny. Mm-hmm. It's the worst.
4,000 switchbacks.
Worst collection of switchbacks
Yeah.
Uphill the whole way, yeah.
Yeah. I would say another moment for me is Devil's Hall Trail in Guadalupe. That was like really, it was like the first hike we did on the national parks extravaganza trip. And that's really loud. Is it going to be picking that up? Okay.
Hold on. We do have a lawnmower. If it's noticeable,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
So that was just, I don't know what it was, but there was just like such a sense of peace that came over me in that hike. Like I just felt like me, like I just didn't have a care in the world. Like I felt so like light, and then I was just like hopping on all the rocks and like have it, like I felt like a kid, you know. It might have felt like that too, because it was like winter break and I was still teaching, and I had like made it to that finish line, and then we were going on this big trip, which is amazing, but it's also like a lot of work on my end prior to like going. And so that was like the first moment where I got to like experience the payoff of my hard work, and it was like a really fun trail, and I love like jumping on rocks, and so that was totally my vibe.
First time you got to experience your hard work for that specific trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was just, I don't know. Maybe I was like more ready to feel that and like really like appreciate like what I can do and how beautiful it can be, and like the air was nice, and I don't know, it was just fun. And like I didn't know what to expect. So like it's called Devil's Hall Trail, and you're supposed to like make it to this hall, and we kept going, and then we didn't know like where the hallway was, and so yeah, kind of like having that unexpected factor. And then when you get there, you're like, oh, that's why it's called Devil's Hall Trail. Because I kept, again, being like, are we there yet? Like, are we there yet? And then, yeah, that moment when you, like, get there and you know that you're there because, duh. Yeah. I would say, yeah, maybe I'm like an adrenaline junkie a little bit. Because, of course, one of mine is going to be paragliding. Yeah.
Oh.
Or tandem paragliding.
What about that?
Well, yeah, it was in Austria. And, yeah, we went up on top of a mountain, and we met two cool dudes, Huvi and Stefan. And I think it's Stepan, like it's like with a P, just P. But yeah, and we tandem paraglided down the freaking Alps. So that was, I mean, you feel like a bird. Like that has to be like as close as it gets to feeling like that. You're just like literally floating through the air peacefully. The takeoff is not as peaceful, but it's also like an adrenaline rush, and then you actually like get off the ground and you're doing it, and it's such an incredible feeling. And again, it was another time where I was like, like maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I wasn't the girl that would be paragliding off the Alps, but I think that's because I wasn't the girl who I was, because I am the girl that paraglides off the Alps.
So you have to go through your comfort zone, outside of your comfort zone.
To learn what you like. Yeah, I would have never known that I liked that because I'd never obviously been exposed to something like that. But yeah, so that was incredible. Yeah, I think you did a really good, like I don't feel like I have to explain that one that much because the video that you made is pretty much like perfectly explains like how magical it was without even saying anything, really. It just like shows the experience. Yeah.
Check it out. Go there, do that on YouTube. paragliding through the Alps on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I think that's the video name.
Mm-hmm.
There's one with the GoPro. It just shows Heather's like GoPro footage of like the whole flight. And
My little girlish squeals.
Yeah. And then there's one of me, or well, I edit my perspective with Heather's point of view, like because she has the GoPro on her head, and I'm holding a camera, so then we like look at each other sort of at the same time.
Yeah, that's cool too. Like from that experience, once you edited that and to like realize that like we kept just like looking back at each other at the same time and like just like kind of in sync, even though we were having two separate experiences, really.
Yeah. But that was fun.
Yeah.
Heather didn't do the total loop-de-loops.
Yeah.
But there's a part, I didn't feel like I did do the full loop, but in the video it shows like...
Yeah, all the way around.
It's kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was like messing with camera settings as I was flying.
And then you're like, I'm upside down.
Yeah. I was literally like, I need to take a photo
Yeah.
and a video. And so I was like, I need to change the settings. And I was like spinning around. My face was like sagging from the G-forces
Yeah.
and the wind.
Yeah.
So that's where we at, 3?
Mm-hmm.
Zion.
I feel like I'm running out.
Zion.
Devil's Hall.
Devil's Hall. First hike and then paragliding.
Mm-hmm.
You're running out, huh?
I know.
What else have you done with your life?
Well, like I have a couple swirling, and I'm
Think
trying
of
to
Lake
pick them.
Somerville
Oh.
with the puppies.
Oh yeah. I guess that one's not like an adrenaline one, so I forget about that one. But yeah, I guess one of our first camping trips. It was the first one with the dogs, camping with the dogs. And it was like when we first kind of started, like the idea of go there, do that. Originally it was like, let's go, like we're not really allowed to go anywhere, so let's just go to all the state parks and like film there and see what happens. And it was an excuse to go camping. We were camping in a tent, and it was our first camping trip with the dogs after we'd kind of got, our feet under us with how we, like, knowing how to camp. And yeah, I remember just like sitting in the hammock and with everything going on, like that was probably the worst year for like teaching that I had. By probably I mean that was the worst year for teaching that I had. It was really just like difficult.
2020?
Yeah. 2020 to 2021. So it was just really hard to like separate that. And then camping was like, it was like you gave me a life raft, because it was like, it was a lot of work, because it's like, okay, how do you camp? Literally like stay one night, because I couldn't get like 2 nights in a row because everybody else was camping at that time too. And so it was really hard to book anything. And so we'd like go Saturday night only, but it was like worth it. All that like extra stress, but it was like a different kind of stress and a peaceful stress and like an escape. And yeah, I just remember like sitting in the hammock and realizing that I could like separate that stress from me and like feel calm, because I don't know if I'd really felt that in like a long time, to just like be able to breathe and like take in my surroundings and notice, the world around me and how beautiful it is and was. And we had the puppies there with us. So that was like important too, because I wanted them to like be able to be included in that, if it was something that we were going to do a lot.
You call it an escape. It might have been an entrance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it felt like an escape at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like entering a portal to like, me.
A new
Like
experience.
finding more out about who like I even am. Yeah.
Outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Would Lake Somerville be in the top 5?
Yeah.
Garner State Park. That time we drove up. Like Friday.
That would not be in the top 5.
It takes 3 hours to drive there. And we
Yeah.
only had Friday night, right?
Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
And we drove 3 hours there. We stayed one night and then drove 3 hours. We had to check out
And we had the dogs.
check out at what time?
12.
We still went up Old Baldy
At sunrise.
at Garner at the sunrise with O'Malley and Danny. Yeah.
Yeah.
O'Malley wasn't as good of a walker back then, so he was just dragging you.
Dragging me up the mountain, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that was fun.
Yeah.
That was sunrise. Like that was, we could see the sun.
Yeah.
Like, we were up early.
Yeah, we used to be really good at that. It is harder to wake up these days.
Yeah. Well, we've gotten more
I think
comfortable.
I think there's like less I'm trying to think of the word for it, like desperation, like to feel like, I think when it was like we have to do this. Like it felt like something that we had to do, not even something that we wanted to do. And so, like, getting up at sunrise was just like, we have to do this. Like, are we going to see another sunrise like this? You know, like, I don't know.
That's how
And
it
then,
would be.
yeah,
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah. Why don't we feel like that anymore?
Well, because we know, like, we're more at peace. Like, that's not
that
being,
makes sense. Yeah.
it's not like being
Yeah.
at peace when you're saying you have to do this thing.
That's
I mean, whatever I'm trying to say. It's like, yes, there's passion and that never goes away. I always say a need. I always say.
You said it,
I've
started
said
saying it last week.
I said it
yeah.
like last week.
Yeah.
So I've always said it. What is it? A need is just a want that won't go away until you die. But like it's just explaining like whenever you like you breathe, you eat, whatever. It's a want that won't go away until you die. Because if you want to eat but you can't, it'll go away.
Once you die,
And then if you have like a passion for something though, it's like a want. Like you don't really have to pursue the passion. Like you could let it fizzle out, just like you wouldn't eat for a while, and then that it fizzles you out literally. Like a passion doesn't go away until you die.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't know what it is. Like you don't know what you really want to do, but you know you want to do something. Like if you're not doing what you want to do, you know it.
Yeah.
You don't know exactly what you want to do. You just know it's not this.
Yeah.
And so you have to keep experiencing new things and rotating through life of different things. And then you're like, okay, this is it. Yeah. Like that's how I got into video, but it was always kind of there. Like I can feel these little, when I think back in my memories, there were all these little moments that I always remember, but it had something to do with like a video when I was little. Like I did a commercial in high school for some class, and it was like the only time ever like we did a video project.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was super fun. Like I was the most excited about it, and I was like directing a commercial and everything, and it was like funny. But most people were just like, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, of course, I'd watch Lord of the Rings. And then when I would watch the behind the scenes of Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson was like, yeah, we had like a camera. And I was like, what? Like they had people behind the screen. Like it like blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because I was like, there's people that make this. Like
Right.
I never thought about what made it happen. And so then I started watching all the behind the scenes on everything. And then I was like, oh, that guy, there's like a whole crew. There's like hundreds of people that were a part of this. And then Lord of the Rings is one of the, the trilogy, the greatest movies
Yeah.
of all time. They're my favorite still. But I think that's why, they're my favorite. Or they might just be the greatest ever. I appreciate them more, though, because I watched them as a kid.
Yeah.
And April 13th is the 20th anniversary of when Return of the King was released. In 2003.
Mm-hmm.
And try to catch it in theaters. So I don't know if you can hear that lawnmower, and I apologize, but I'm probably going to keep it in because I don't know how to edit it out. If you can't hear it, just ignore me. It's just bugging
It's
me.
just really loud to
yeah,
us,
it's
yeah.
loud to us. But we live in a neighborhood. We're in a house right now, and there's people mowing their lawns outside because it's Saturday.
Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful day.
It's a nice day. We did go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
I haven't said my fifth one,
wow.
if you're interested.
Will it take a while? I'm just kidding.
Why? Ew.
Like what else? Yes, that would be great. Like I was like, we need some. Like there was something else we were gonna get to. Well, yes, it's fine. Yes, go ahead. You have the
I
floor.
have your permission.
Mm-hmm. The camera's on you.
Okay. Well, now I have to think of it. I didn't have it in my head. I just didn't want you to forget about it.
Wait.
It's the last one, so I'm like, it's important. So I didn't have it like picked out yet, but I just didn't want you to be like, all right, and that's it.
You're putting too much pressure on it.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Okay. It's hard. Like.
Well, now there's too much around it. Now you put too much pressure on it.
I know.
So then you're gonna be like never deciding.
I think I'm just gonna go for it because it keeps.
Okay.
It's the one
Which
that
one?
keeps popping up, and then I'm like, no, not that one.
Just tell us that
and
one.
And then it just keeps coming.
It might change later.
But whenever it wasn't the Northern Lights, but we were in Alaska to see the Northern Lights. But then we first of all, we did something that we never do, and we went to the visitor center in Fairbanks. Because we didn't know what to do during the day because the Northern Lights happen at night. And then I'm not great with geography, so I didn't realize beforehand, but one of the people there was Denali is 2 hours away from here, a 2-hour drive. And then we were like, oh, well, maybe one of the days, during the day, we could drive to Denali and go see what that's like, And so we did, and it was our last day there. And it was just so crazy because we had been there 8 months before that or so, but in the summer. And so we get there, and of course it's snowy because it's Alaska in the winter. And there was no one there. It was just so quiet. And it just looked completely different than what we had seen, even though we had seen it already. And it wasn't as cold as it was in the nights when we were trying to watch the Northern Lights. And so it was a nice break to experience something beautiful and majestic, and then not be so cold that it's hard to function it was in the nights. But I don't know, I just really enjoyed seeing Denali and that light as well. I just think it's special that we've been able to see it all green and rolling vast mountains and hills, and then also in its snowy wonder, It just seems so desolate and beautiful all at once.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good fifth one.
Mm-hmm.
Am I leaving anything else out?
Well,
What? I don't want to move on until you.
No. I've said my 5. I'll leave it at that. All right. So back to puppies and kittens.
Yeah.
Well,
we know which one's better. I'm looking through my notes here.
Have you been taking those the whole time we've been talking?
No.
Oh.
This is a notebook that I had of new words that I've learned.
Okay.
And I wrote them down, and I don't remember what any of these mean until I read them again.
Okay.
like repast,
What's that?
a meal or food at a meal. Repast. I might be saying it wrong. Anyways, I have Smoosh after top 5.
Oh.
We found him on the side of the road. Well, I
think he should be his own episode.
He will be.
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't a real episode. This is just talking about what we're going to talk about.
Oh my gosh. We haven't even done a real episode. This is exhausting.
This is the real episode. You get good nuggets out of the
Yeah.
candid stuff.
I guess so.
Like I'm not scheduling out exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, we will eventually once we talk about the same thing 100 times over and over again.
Yeah.
So,
you think we'll ever run out of things to talk about? Like, we talk all the time.
yeah, that's pretty weird. We do talk all the time. This is a big reason why we made the podcast is because
That's why I agreed to it, because I was like, well, it won't be that much, like, more work.
this is 100% real. We might actually have been talking about these things if we weren't doing a podcast.
Yeah.
So that's why we started one. And gives you some insight, some background information, all that, whatever else you want.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see Heather's cool background there with the purple,
Yeah.
which I really like. And then my
Why'd
background,
you pick purple?
my background is just this wall here because there's not really a practical decoration that you could put directly behind me. I know you could do like wallpaper, but it also has to be approved by Heather.
Yeah, wallpaper's a commitment.
Wallpaper's a lot of commitment. I do have a photo above me, but
yeah, you're just not tall enough.
I might just show a photo of it later or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a photo I took above me, which is cool. Because this has to be functional
Yes.
for our everyday lives too.
That's my rule.
And that's a rule of the podcast. So, moving on to Cece.
Oh, interesting choice of subject.
Well, we got
Okay.
many people.
So to break down, we
First animal.
Yeah.
Like-
We currently have 2 cats and 1 dog. We used to have 2 dogs and 1 cat. Recently, our sweet baby girl Danny passed away unexpectedly at 12. And but we have O'Malley, who we've had since a puppy, and he'll be 8 in April. And then we have Smoosh, who will be 2 in April. And we found him on the side of the road. And then we have Cece, who I also found on the side of the road, but I had before we were, like, together. Yeah, she'll be 10 this year.
Yeah, you got it right before we.
Started dating.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's probably the most, like, chill one in the house. She just kind of hangs out, does her thing, doesn't cause too much trouble.
And that's our first animal.
Mm-hmm.
We usually talk about the dogs and everything, but Cece has one of the best kitty cat lives ever.
Oh, yeah.
So she's relaxed. She has all the pillows and stuff. She likes being alone. When we go on trips, it's like she throws a party.
Yeah, we load up everyone in the van, and Cece's like, bye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we even take Smoosh with us sometimes camping, and Cece really doesn't care that she doesn't go.
She prefers if he goes.
Mhm.
They're not friends.
They're roommates that argue.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, yeah. But yeah, those are the animals. And then we will talk about... I'm out of things, so I'm okay with just ending it right here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is pretty good.
Yep.
Okay. So, do you want to say it?
What am I supposed to say? Do we have a catchphrase or something?
Yeah.
What?
I was hoping you would say it. I don't know what it is yet. But thanks for watching. This was episode 2 of the Go There Do That podcast. We're just picking some topics. If you have any other topics that you might want us to talk about, let us know, because we can get as specific as possible, as philosophical as possible. We can just talk about the mundaneness of our lives, playing Call of Duty Black Ops 3, or we can talk about Heather can talk about like spreadsheets and Google Docs and all that and planning. And I can just talk about videos or something. But anyways, so long. Freeze frame. How was that?